And I had a brutal sexual assault when I was 14, and I went away from home when I was 15. I bought a one-way ticket to Taiwan. So this chapter that I'm going to, the opening session of this chapter that I'm going to read you tonight is from the time when I returned from Taiwan. I lived in Chongqing Mansions for a year. So this is about that. Home of Lost Souls. I began living in Chongqing Mansions when I turned 18 in October 1992. At the end of my 2-year journey to Taiwan, the picture of my dreams flashed in my mind. It urged me to return and realize them. Located at the harbor end of National Road in Tsim Sha Tsui, Chongqing Mansions appeared abused. A corridor on the ground floor connected the mansion's 5 blocks. Together, they became the least favored children, sitting among luxury hotels like the Peninsula and Sheraton, the least favored like I was among my siblings. When I first entered Chongqing Mansions, a pungent smell, Indian curry mixed with Chinese salted fish, attacked my nostrils. The air on the ground floor was heavy and humid. Standing amid the crowd, I sensed the moisture clinging to my clothes. It felt thick as I breathed it in, coating the inside of my throat. South Asians, Middle Easterners, and Africans gathered in small groups, conducting business. With a dark compassion, I blended in well. The place brimmed with shops and clamor. I didn't mind the noise. I was searching for my voice. The distance from the entrance to the lift lobby was about 100 steps. I counted them to keep track. The space in between heaved with men. A slight girl, I braced myself, navigated through the throng, and avoid touching anyone or being touched along the way. I chose to stay at the Travelers Lodge Hostel for 3 reasons. Firstly, it was the cheapest, Hong Kong dollar 45 or US 5.8 per night, while the Imperial Hotel next door was 500, still relatively inexpensive for a hotel. Secondly, no deposit was required. I paid before noon and had a bed. Lastly, I didn't see any Chinese and breathed easier. As a Chinese myself, I knew we could be judgmental. Travelers Lodge had a large lobby with a reception desk parallel to the entrance. In the far corner, a bulky TV and a beat-up sofa took up some space. The foyer bustled with life as an incessant stream of guests arrived and departed. I became almost invisible. It suited me well, as I hoped to blend in, a discreet drop in a sea of colors. The hostel had 2 rooms with 1 bed each, a sizable mixed-sex room, and 3 single-sex rooms with bunk beds. I selected bed 86, a lower bunk in the women's one, and paid each morning to keep it. Once I forgot to pay on time, and my belongings ended up scattered around the corner next to the rough wooden reception table. Behind the table sat Marian, a 40-ish Filipina with a menacing face and a high-pitched voice. She wore thick makeup like a mask with a facial expression that mirrored a solemn gray sky. Talking to her could be frightening. You never knew when her anger would rain down on you. I often wondered how the true face of Marian might have looked before she had become a domestic helper in Hong Kong. Unfortunately, domestic helpers landed at the bottom of the social hierarchy of Hong Kong. I empathized with domestic workers as I, an outsider, also tasted the bitterness of discrimination. Whenever I saw Marianne's face, I feared I would grow to be like her, putting on so much makeup to mask my sense of inferiority and insecurity. The world might seal my mouth, rendering me voiceless. The other hostel keeper was Cameroon-born Jamie, in his 50s. Jamie's voice, deep and dense, sounded like the rumble of distant thunder, matching his slow-moving masculine body. Every other day, Jamie would inspect each of the guest rooms. His two long legs were not very coordinated, as one seemed to delay for a second or two before deciding to stride forward in front of the other. But the delay somehow added weight to his inspection. Marianne and Jamie were complementary opposites, like concave and convex. They go on well and make a great pair of gods, diligently looking after the hostel. Nobody wanted to mess with them. We pay on time. One night, when I arrived at Chongqing Mansions after working at a shop until near midnight, a power failure blacked out our boat again. It happened at least once every 2 months, as the illicit hostels mushroomed inside the mansions, initially designed for residential usage. I pushed through a seedy back door and got to the staircase. As I ascended the stairs to my 16th floor hostel, faint yellow lights from outside creeped through the small portholes. After the whip, my reactions to situations became extreme in strange and unpredictable ways. It didn't concern me if I was in a perilous place like I was now, ascending, alone, a dark staircase famous for drug dealing and prostitution. But in public places, I often suffered from sudden panic attacks. If anyone accidentally brushed against the bare skin of my arm, I might let out an involuntary scream. Luckily, I reached my floor safely that night and during the subsequent building blackouts. So when it's too unbearable to write another